But why do I have to do it? Because I said so. I think sometimes when we consider the word obedience, it's that kind of a moment, just like one of those. It's that kind of moment we envision. One of those vintage tense showdowns, whether it's boss and employee or teacher and student, maybe most classic of all, parent and child. The one being asked to do something and having absolutely no desire to, trying to wiggle out of the situation but to no avail, and then finally as a last resort desperately imploring, but why? And then the other, at wit's end, having no desire to be in this debate at all and just wanting the thing done, lobbing out that perennial answer of answers, because I said so. Why are you going to do it? Because I said so. Because I told you to, because that's how this works. Finish that project, or do that assignment, or clean your room, or pick up your toys, or whatever it is. Whether you like it or not, you're gonna be obedient. Yeah, when we think of that word, obedience, I think sometimes that's what comes to mind. Something like a formidable dad and a compliantly obedient child. A less than ideal situation in which neither person, neither side seems all that happy or successful or impressive. And yet today, we're here to reflect upon the admiration that Pope Francis shows for something that kind of breaks the mold with all this. Something, or someone rather, who is able to take these different sides, different possibilities, and bring them together in a powerful way. We continue to reflect upon St. Joseph, and today, in a specific way, we admire his ability to be an obedient father. We don't know if Joseph ever said, "Because I said so," to Jesus. With all these things that we get in the Bible about St. Joseph, one thing that we don't get is his words. So we don't know if he was ever on that side of this kind of discussion. But what we do know is that Joseph most definitely found himself kind of on the flip side of this sort of thing, being asked to do things that oftentimes were not exactly walks in the park. I mean, on a regular basis, it seems Joseph would have these dreams in which an angel of the Lord came to him, making some big ask. Matthew's gospel gives us a slew of these moments. The angel telling him to accept the already pregnant Mary as his wife. The angel telling him, once that child was born, to grab his family, which had already trekked from Nazareth to Bethlehem, and journey even further, running all the way to Egypt. And then again later, that angel coming once more, telling him, okay, the time's come now, get back to Israel. These moments, these asks, they weren't just some small take out the trash kind of thing. These were a big deal. These were God making major requests of Joseph, the head and father of this holy family, asking him and all of them to uproot their reality in their lives over and over. And if we're being honest, I don't think we could blame Joseph all that much if he had just kind of said, nah, that's okay, I'm good. Or even if he had simply said, okay, move to Egypt, but like how and why and what's the big plan here? But he didn't do any of that. He didn't hesitate. He didn't hem and haw. He didn't question. He heard God's call, God's command, and he did it. He was obedient. Pope Francis describes that dutiful response that Joseph gives, that response that he has in these moments, as his own fiat, his own yes. And really, it's an astounding example of how to give that kind of yes to the Lord. To have that kind of obedience, you have to have a profound trust in the one you're obedient to. You need to have the understanding and the faith that he or she would only ask such things while keeping your best interest in mind. And that's the thing about obedience, especially when we're talking about being obedient to God. It's never just some random, pointless exercise of our Lord being some bossy, heavy-handed tyrant over our lives. And when it comes to our loving God, when he asks, there's always a reason. Sure, we might not always fully understand what it is yet, and at times it could feel a bit because I said so-ish, but there's always a reason, a good one, which is why Joseph was ready and willing to obey, to respond, to be a father who was prepared to follow the will of the Father. What we find in St. Joseph, then, is someone who is simply ready to answer the call and the need and the vocation that God had for him in any given moment. Sometimes to be the one leading and guiding, and sometimes to be the one listening and obeying, but always knowing our Lord's goodness, always remaining humbly obedient to his will. What an image for us to emulate. What an example that can remind us that following God, whenever he says so, is always good. That being obedient as a father or mother or brother or sister or whoever we are, being obedient to him will never lead us astray.